I paid $20,000 for a Hawaii trip, but at the airport my son said, "No ticket for you, go home." They always planned to abandon me. 3 weeks later, they came back, only to find a man in a suit beside me. That man was, "Dad, I've got some difficult news." Dean's voice sliced through the airport's clamor, sharp and unwelcome. I froze mid-step, my wheeled luggage bumping my leg. Ahead, the check-in line for Hawaiian Airlines stretched, bustling with families laden with oversized bags and fragrant leis. "What sort of news?" I asked, though a knot of dread was already tightening in my gut. He wouldn't meet my gaze, instead fixating on the departure screen, hands plunged deep into his pockets. "I forgot to purchase your ticket." The words hung between us like a cloud of smoke. Travelers streamed past, clutching boarding passes, their joyful chatter about sun-drenched beaches and luau's now sounding like a cruel taunt. "You forgot." My voice came out smaller than I'd intended. Dean ***. We've been orchestrating this trip for 3 months. I know, he conceded, finally looking at me, but only for a fleeting moment. There was just so much to organize, and work has been utterly chaotic. I transferred $20,000. The sum felt immense on my tongue. For all of us, the entire family. Right. And we're grateful, Arthur. Truly. Dean glanced at his watch, then towards the boarding gates. But the thing is, the flight's almost ready to board. I was already propelling myself towards the counter, dragging my suitcase. Its wheels snagged, jarring my shoulder, but I pushed on. This had to be fixable. "Excuse me." I called to the agent, a woman in a crisp blue uniform with a practiced smile. "I need to inquire about available flights to Honolulu for today." She tapped at her computer. "Certainly, sir. Name on the reservation. Arthur Redding ***, but there appears to be an issue with my booking." More typing. A pause. Her smile faltered slightly. "I'm not showing any reservation under that name, sir." "Are you certain it was booked with Hawaiian Airlines?" My chest constricted. It must be there. My family. I turned to find Dean, but he'd moved several feet away, now pacing near the security checkpoint entrance. "Let me try a broader search," the agent offered. Lena ***. I noted her name tag. "What dates were you looking to travel?" "Today, right now. My son and his family should already have their tickets." She nodded, her fingers flying across the keyboard. The screen's glow reflected in her glasses as she scrolled. "I do see a reservation for Dean Redding. Party of 4, departing at 4:15, but there's no Arthur Redding on that booking." The terminal seemed to lurch. "That's impossible." "Check again." "I've checked twice, sir. Would you like me to see what's available on standby?" A sliver of hope. "Yes. Anything." "I'm sorry, but we're completely booked today. There's a large convention in Honolulu." "What about tomorrow?" "First class. I'll pay any cost." Dean materialized at my side, his hand clamping around my arm. Arthur we need to talk." I shook him off. "Not now. We're resolving this." "No, we're not." His grip tightened, pulling me away from the counter. "This isn't going to work." The airline agent watched us, her concern growing. Other passengers began to stare. A young child pointed at my suitcase, which had toppled over when Dean grabbed me. "What do you mean? It's not going to work." I righted my luggage, my hands trembling slightly. "There must be another airline, another flight." Arthur listen to me. Dean's voice held a sharp edge I'd never heard before. "The vacation is happening today. Right now, my family is already through security. So, we find another way to get me there." "No." The word was flat, definitive. "We don't." The departure board flickered, updating flight times, gate assignments shifting. The 4:15 Hawaiian flight now blazed with final boarding call in pulsing red letters. Dean ***, you're frightening me. What's going on? He checked his watch again, this time with aggressive urgency. What's going on is that you need to go home, Arthur. We'll manage the vacation somehow. Manage? My voice cracked. I paid for everything. The hotel, the car rental, the kids' activities. And we appreciate that. But right now, standing here arguing isn't helping anyone. The terminal's air conditioning hummed, yet I felt a sudden rush of heat. Dizzy. Nothing made sense. 3 months of planning, $20,000, family dinners filled with talk of snorkeling and sunset cruises, and now Dean was treating me like an inconvenience. "Just go home," he repeated, already retreating towards the security checkpoint. "We'll call you from the hotel." That's when I saw it in his eyes. Not panic over a forgotten ticket, not guilt for a mistake, but relief. Dean turned and walked towards the gate, leaving me alone with my suitcase in the middle of the terminal, watching my son vanish into the crowd as if this moment had been meticulously orchestrated. The Hawaiian Airlines counters suddenly felt like the only solid ground in my swirling world. I approached the same agent, Lena, who recognized me immediately. "Sir, were you able to sort things out with your family? Actually, I need you to verify something for me." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "That reservation under Dean Redding, when was it created?" She hesitated, glancing towards the security point where Dean had vanished. "I'm not usually authorized to share booking details, but..." Her fingers moved across the keyboard. "It indicates here it was booked 6 weeks ago. A party of 4, 2 adults, 2 children. 6 weeks ago. Not 3 months, when we'd first discussed the trip. Not last week, when Dean claimed he was finalizing everything. 6 weeks ago, when he'd already decided I wouldn't be included. And were any changes made to add additional passengers? No, sir. The reservation has remained unchanged since the initial booking." My legs felt weak. I gripped the counter's cool metal edge. "What about other airlines? Anything to Honolulu today, tomorrow, this week?" She checked, her expression growing more empathetic with each search. "I'm afraid it's convention season. United has a waiting list of 47. Alaska Airlines is fully booked through next Tuesday." Next Tuesday, the words tasted bitter. By then, the vacation would be half over. "There is one option," she offered quietly. "Southwest has a red-eye tonight with 2 stops. It would get you in Thursday afternoon, but it's quite expensive without advanced booking." "How expensive?" $1,800. I reached for my wallet, then stopped. In the distance, I could see the gate for the Hawaiian flight. Dean would be there now, likely texting Sarah, assuring her everything was handled. "The problem, me, had been dealt with, sir." Lena's voice seemed to drift from far away. "He knew," I said, more to myself than to her. "All along he knew. I'm sorry." I looked at her kind face, her genuine concern for a bewildered older man, and suddenly felt a wave of embarrassment. This wasn't her burden. This was family. Business, the kind of ugly truth that belonged behind closed doors. "The flight," I said. "Is it still boarding?" "Final call was 10 minutes ago. They're likely closing the doors now." As if on cue, an announcement crackled over the intercom. "Hawaiian Airlines Flight 447 to Honolulu is now closed for boarding. All ticketed passengers should be on board." I turned towards the gate. Even from here, I could see the last few stragglers hurrying down the corridor, children in tow, carry-on bags bouncing. Families heading to paradise together. My phone vibrated. A text from Dean. "Sorry, Dad. We'll call from hotel. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself." As if I were a discarded burden he'd finally managed to shed. Lena cleared her throat gently. "About that Southwest flight, sir, would you like me to hold it while you decide?" I stared at my phone screen. No explanation, no true apology, just a casual dismissal after taking $20,000 and 3 months of my anticipation. "No," I said, sliding the phone back into my pocket. "No, I don't think so." "Are you sure?" "I can hold it for 15 minutes. "I'm sure." Because suddenly, standing in that terminal filled with the scent of coffee and the rumble of luggage, I grasped something profound. This wasn't about a forgotten ticket, or poor planning, or even Dean's selfishness. This was about who they thought I was, someone they could treat like a fool. The departure board updated again. Hawaiian Flight 447 now showed departed in stark black letters. Dean and his family were airborne, likely toasting with complimentary beverages, congratulating themselves on a well-deserved vacation. I picked up my suitcase handle and walked towards the exit. But I wasn't defeated. Not anymore. Every step away from that gate was a step towards clarity. They had made a calculation about Arthur Redding. They decided I would quietly go home, perhaps grumble a little, but ultimately accept being cast aside. They were about to discover how profoundly mistaken they were. The automatic glass doors slid open, and I stepped into the crisp afternoon air, my mind already racing, plotting my next move. Behind me, the terminal thrummed with the energy of travelers departing for their varied destinations. I, too, was heading to my destination, just not the one they anticipated. The taxi queue stretched longer than I'd expected, but I welcomed the wait. It offered time to think, to allow the turbulent pieces of my morning to settle like sediment in disturbed water. "Where to?" the driver inquired as I loaded my suitcase into the trunk. He was middle-aged, his face etched with the weariness of a day spent navigating airport traffic. "Oakland, Montclair District." I sank into the back seat, still clutching my phone, where Dean's pitiful text still glowed. As we pulled away from SFO, I gazed out at the familiar Bay Area landscape. The peninsula unfurled below, dotted with homes where other families were likely gathering for dinner, sharing their days, making plans, not conspiring to exclude their own father. "Rough day?" the driver asked, catching my eye in the rearview mirror. "Getting rougher by the minute." I wasn't typically one to confide in strangers, but the anonymity of the taxi made it surprisingly easy. "Ever had your family turn on you?" He chuckled, a sound devoid of humor. "Brother, I've got ex-wives who've been orchestrating my downfall for years. Family's the ones who know exactly where to stick the knife." The knife, that's precisely what it felt like. Sharp, precise, aimed at something vital. As we drove through Daly City, I began replaying conversations from the past few months. March, when I'd first voiced my desire to do something special for the grandkids. Dean's immediate, enthusiastic response. Arthur, that's a brilliant idea. Leave everything to me. April, when we'd sat around Sarah's dining room table, leafing through hotel brochures, Chloe practically bouncing in her chair. "Oh, Arthur, this is so incredibly generous." Gavin had nodded along, quieter than usual, but seemingly supportive. But now, looking back, I could see the subtle cues. Dean's insistence on handling all the bookings himself. Sarah's suggestion that I might be more comfortable in a different hotel, just in case the kids got too boisterous. Chloe's comment about how older folks sometimes prefer different activities. They'd been subtly conditioning me to expect separation all along. "You know what the absolute worst part is?" I said to the driver's reflection. "What's that?" They genuinely thought I just accepted, roll over, and play dead. "Are you planning to prove them wrong?" I watched the Bay Bridge loom ahead, its cables carving geometric patterns against the fading afternoon sky. I'm 68 years old. I worked 43 years as an engineer. I raised a son who, apparently, considers me a fool. But I didn't survive this long by letting people walk all over me. The driver chuckled. "Now you're talking sense." My phone buzzed again. Another text, this time from Sarah. "So sorry about the mix-up, Arthur. We'll bring you back something lovely from Hawaii." Mix-up, as if it were some clerical error, not a deliberate, calculated betrayal. I thought about the $20,000 I'd transferred to Dean's account 6 weeks ago. "For the vacation," he'd said. Easier to book everything from one source. How effortlessly I trusted him. How completely I'd been played. But as we exited onto Highway 24, heading towards my quiet house in the hills, something shifted deep within me. The hurt was still there, raw and acute. But beneath it was something harder, something that had been building pressure like water behind a dam. They wanted to treat me like a doting, senile old man who could be discarded at their convenience. They wanted to take my money and exclude me from my own grandchildren's vacation. Fine. But they were about to discover that this particular old man still had a few moves left. The taxi pulled into my driveway as the sun began its descent behind the Oakland hills. The house looked exactly as I'd left it 3 hours ago, neat, quiet, ready for a week of absence. But I wasn't the same man who'd locked that front door with excitement and anticipation. "That'll be $47.50, the driver said. I handed him $60. "Keep the change, and thanks for the conversation." "Whatever you're planning," he said with a grin. "I hope they deserve it." As I watched his taillights vanish down the street, I retrieved my phone and scrolled to a number I hadn't dialed in months. Clark Sterling, my lawyer. If Dean wanted to play games with $20,000, we could play games. But first, I had some crucial preparation to do. The key turned in my front door with its usual familiar click, yet everything felt different now. I dragged my suitcase across the threshold, its wheels catching on the doormat Eleanor and I had chosen 2 decades ago, a home where I'd expected to be packing for Hawaii tonight, not unpacking from nowhere. I changed into my comfortable cardigan and old cotton trousers, the kind Dean always said made me look like an old professor. Tonight, that felt entirely appropriate. I had studying to do. My office was exactly as I'd left it that morning. Eleanor's oak desk by the window, filing cabinets lined against the wall like vigilant soldiers. Everything organized, everything meticulously in its place, unlike my family. The vacation folder sat in the second drawer, tabbed Hawaii 2025 in my precise handwriting. I pulled it out and spread the contents across the desk's leather surface. 23 documents, each one a testament to a piece of my trust systematically betrayed. The travel agency invoice, the $20,000 transferred to Dean's account 6 weeks prior. The hotel confirmation, Grand Wailea, Ocean View Suites, 7 guests, 10 nights. I counted the names: Dean, Sarah, Chloe, Gavin, Lily, Max, and Eleanor Redding. Eleanor, my wife, who had been gone for 3 years. They had actually put Eleanor's name down instead of mine. The reservation, paid for with my money, didn't even include me. My hands trembled as I reached for the hotel brochure. Beautiful sunset photos, families playing in crystal-clear water, generations gathering around dinner tables, everything we discussed during those family planning sessions. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk, you'll adore the ocean view suite, Dean had said. The kids will make such incredible memories, Sarah had added. All lies. I picked up the phone, not my cell, but the old landline Eleanor had insisted we keep. Something about this moment required the weight of a real connection, not wireless convenience. Directory assistants connected me to the Grand Wailea Resort reservations. This is Lena. How may I help you? Her voice carried that practiced Hawaiian warmth the kind hospitality workers are trained to perfect. I need to cancel a reservation under the name Redding. Let me pull that up for you. Redding, yes. I show a reservation for 7 guests, checking in tomorrow. Ocean View Suites for 10 nights. Are you sure you wish to cancel? Our resort is quite beautiful this time of year. I am completely sure. May I ask why? Perhaps I can offer alternatives. Different room types, partial stays. No alternatives. Cancel everything. A pause. I could hear her typing, likely attempting to process why someone would cancel such an expensive booking. Mr. Redding, I must inform you that canceling this close to arrival will result in significant penalties. The total cancellation fee would be $3,200. $3,200, less than what I'd spend on gas money for a year. That's acceptable. Sir, are you certain? This is a very substantial reservation. Perhaps if you spoke with our guest services manager. Cancel it now, please. More typing. The software of a printer. Official business being conducted. The cancellation is processed. You should receive confirmation via email within the hour. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Actually, yes. When someone arrives tomorrow expecting that reservation, what will you tell them? I would inform them that the reservation was canceled by the primary booking party at 6:47 p.m. Pacific Time on May 15th. Perfect. Dean would know exactly when I'd taken action, and more importantly, he'd know it was deliberate. Thank you, Lena. You've been very helpful. I hung up and looked at the scattered papers on my desk. In the corner, a framed photo from last Christmas. Dean, Sarah, the kids, Chloe and Gavin, all gathered around my tree, opening presents I'd bought, eating dinner I'd paid to cater. All of them smiling at the generous old fool. Well, the generous part was over. Morning light filtered through my bedroom curtains differently than it had in weeks. For the first time since we'd started planning this vacation, I'd slept deeply, dreamlessly, utterly. No pre-trip anxiety. No eager anticipation of Lily's face when she first saw the ocean. No mental lists of activities the grandkids might enjoy. Just profound peace. I showered, dressed in fresh clothes, and made my way to the kitchen. The old percolator gurgled cheerfully on the counter, filling the house with the same coffee aroma that had greeted Eleanor and me for 43 years of marriage. My cell phone sat charging on the counter where I'd left it. The screen showed numerous missed calls, but I ignored it while pouring my coffee and adding cream. Some conversations demanded proper preparation. Finally, I picked up the device. 56 missed calls, all from the same Hawaiian number. The call log told a story more compelling than any novel. 11:47 p.m. Hawaii time, then 11:52, then 12:03 a.m. Every 15 minutes through the night. 4:30 a.m., 5:15 a.m. Dean had been awake all night. Between the calls, text messages. I scrolled through them, watching panic escalate in real time. Dad, call me back. Urgent. Hotel says you canceled everything. Dad, this isn't funny. Call now. Kids are crying. We have nowhere to go. Call me back. The timestamps painted a clear picture. The family had arrived at the Grand Wailea around 3 p.m. Hawaii time yesterday, 6 p.m. California time. Just as I was hanging up with Lena, they'd walked up to that beautiful resort desk, excited and tired from travel, likely already envisioning their first sunset dinner, only to discover they had no rooms. I carried my coffee to the living room and settled into my favorite armchair by the window. Outside, my neighbor was walking his golden retriever, the same route they'd taken every morning for 12 years, a normal Tuesday routine for everyone else. My phone buzzed with another incoming call, a Hawaiian number. I let it ring. The voicemail notification appeared moments later. I played it. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk. I don't know what you think you're achieving, but you need to fix this right now. We spent the night in the hotel lobby. Chloe hasn't stopped crying. The kids don't understand what's happening. This is cruel and unnecessary and completely unlike you. Call me back and fix this mess. Cruel and unnecessary. An interesting choice of words from someone who'd left his father stranded at an airport. The coffee tasted perfect. Brazilian blend, ground fresh yesterday morning when I'd still believed in family vacations, children's laughter, and 3 generations making memories together. I set the cup on the side table and picked up my phone, scrolling to Dean's Hawaiian number. My finger hovered over the green call button. 6 weeks of planning, $20,000 transferred without question. 3 months of excited conversations about snorkeling, luau's, and teaching Lily to body surf. All of it orchestrated to exclude me. Dean wanted to talk? Perfect. I had things to say, too. I pressed the call button. Dean answered before the first ring finished. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk. Finally, what the heck is going on? The hotel says you canceled our entire reservation. His voice was so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. In the background, I could hear other voices. Asterisk, asterisk, Sarah, asterisk, asterisk, saying something about a complete disaster. One of the children crying. Well, hello, Dean. How's your vacation going? Don't play games with me. We have nowhere to stay. Do you understand what you've done? I reached for my notepad, the one Eleanor used to keep by the phone for messages. Some conversations require documentation. Actually, I understand perfectly. Tell me, when you planned to leave me at the airport yesterday, where exactly did you expect me to spend my vacation? A pause. The background voices quieted. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk. That was completely different. This is about innocent kids. Were they innocent kids involved when you deliberately excluded me after taking my $20,000? That's not the same thing. I wrote down the time. 8:03 a.m. California, 5:03 a.m. Hawaii. Dean's voice carried the exhaustion of someone who'd been awake all night in crisis mode. Help me understand the difference, son. The difference is we're stuck in a foreign place with no money and kids who don't understand why their vacation got ruined. Interesting. Yesterday you told me to just go home when I was stuck in a foreign airport. What changed? Sarah's voice grew louder in the background. Asterisk, asterisk, Dean, asterisk, asterisk. Tell him about the credit cards. Credit cards. I made a note. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk. We can't afford another hotel. Everything's booked solid anyway, because of some convention. We put the entire trip on credit, expecting to pay it off with, well, expecting different circumstances. You mean expecting to pay it off with my money while I sat home like a discarded piece of furniture? Stop being dramatic. This isn't about you anymore. It's about Chloe and the kids. It became about me the moment you took my money and excluded me from my own grandchildren's vacation. Dean's voice shifted, becoming harder. Fine. You want to play hardball. When I get back to California, you're going to regret this. You think you can manipulate this family with money. I wrote that down word for word. You're going to regret this. Asterisk, asterisk, Dean, asterisk, asterisk. Are you threatening me? I'm promising you that actions have consequences, old man. Old man, I noted that too. You're absolutely right about consequences. For instance, the consequence of betraying someone's trust is that they stop trusting you. This is ridiculous. You're punishing children because you got your feelings hurt. I'm teaching adults that stealing $20,000 and abandoning family members has repercussions. We didn't steal anything. You gave us that money for a family vacation, which by definition includes family. Silence, except for Chloe's voice in the distance, something about never should have listened. And this is a disaster. Dean tried a different approach. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk. Look, maybe we handled things badly yesterday, but right now we need to focus on fixing the situation. Can you call the hotel and... No. What do you mean, no? I mean the word no, Dean. It's what you should have heard yesterday when you suggested I just go home and miss my own grandchildren's vacation. This is insane. You're acting like some kind of vindictive. I hung up. The living room settled into a profound quiet after Dean's outburst. Outside, a hummingbird hovered near Eleanor's old feeder, its wings a verdant blur against the morning light. I looked at my notepad. Threats, insults, financial admissions, and a complete absence of accountability. My phone immediately began ringing again, the Hawaiian number. I switched it off and savored the last sips of my coffee, watching the hummingbird navigate between blossoms with an air of purpose and precision. Some lessons simply couldn't be conveyed with words. I stared at my notepad, where Dean's threats glared back at me in stark black ink. Asterisk, you're going to regret this, old man. Asterisk, the words looked even uglier written down than they had sounded through the phone. Eleanor's reading chair sat vacant by the window, afternoon light streaming across the floral cushions she'd chosen 3 decades ago. I could almost picture her there, hands folded in her lap, waiting for me to ask the right question. Asterisk, what would you do, Eleanor? Asterisk, but I already knew. Eleanor never allowed anyone to push her around, not even if it cost her friendships or family comfort. She built a career in nursing by consistently challenging doctors who believed women belonged in the background. Sometimes kindness gets mistaken for weakness, she used to say. Asterisk, don't let people confuse the two, Arthur. Asterisk, I had been kind to Dean his entire life. Paid his college tuition when he struggled with grades. Co-signed his first apartment lease when no one else would trust him. Covered his mortgage payments during 3 separate job changes. Funded family vacations, school supplies for the grandkids, medical bills when Sarah needed surgery. Kindness, all of it interpreted as weakness. My office felt different now, like hallowed ground where weighty decisions were made. I opened the filing cabinet Eleanor had organized so flawlessly, every folder labeled in her meticulous handwriting. Financial family support contained the evidence of 20 years of generosity, bank statements showing monthly transfers to Dean's mortgage company, receipts for Lily's violin lessons and Max's soccer equipment, medical bills I'd quietly paid when Chloe needed her hip replacement, college fund contributions, birthday gifts, Christmas bonuses disguised as loans that were never repaid. $47,000 in the last year alone. I found Clark Sterling's business card tucked behind Eleanor's emergency contact list. Sterling and Associates, estate planning and family law. We'd worked together when Eleanor passed, handling her affairs with the kind of professional precision that made difficult times manageable. Clark understood the weight of family obligations. He would also understand when those obligations became exploitation. My investment portfolio sat in the bottom drawer, statements revealing the careful accumulation of 43 years in engineering, real estate appreciation, retirement accounts, savings bonds, stock options from the tech companies I'd consulted for after official retirement. Dean had no idea how much he was about to lose. The afternoon sun slanted lower now, casting long shadows across my desk. Somewhere in Hawaii, my son was probably still scrambling to find alternative accommodations, still convinced this was temporary frustration he could manipulate away with the right blend of guilt and intimidation. He was about to learn the difference between temporary and permanent. I reached for the phone, Clark's card held steady in my other hand. The numbers felt significant as I dialed, like coordinates for a destination I'd been avoiding my whole life. Justice wasn't the same as revenge. Eleanor had taught me that, too. Revenge was emotional, messy, ultimately unsatisfying. Justice was clean, proportional, educational. Dee wanted to play hardball. Perfect. I'd spent 4 decades in corporate negotiations with men who thought engineering degrees made you soft. None of them made that mistake twice. The phone rang once. Twice. Clark's receptionist answered with professional warmth. Sterling and Associates. How may I help you? Clark Sterling's office. This is Maya speaking. This is Arthur Redding. I need to schedule an urgent consultation with Clark about estate planning. The appointment was set for tomorrow afternoon. I slept better that night than I had since this whole ordeal began. Waking up refreshed and clear-headed, I prepared for the drive to San Francisco. Clark Sterling's office occupied the 15th floor of a gleaming glass tower overlooking the bay, all polished marble and expensive wood paneling, the kind of space that charged by the hour and delivered results worth every penny. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk, come in. Clark rose to greet me, his handshake firm and reassuring. At 55, he carried himself with the calm confidence of someone who had spent decades untangling other people's complicated problems. I settled into the plush, leather chair opposite his mahogany desk and spread out my documentation like evidence in a trial. Bank statements, receipts, threatening text messages, notes from yesterday's phone call. What's the situation? Clark asked, reaching for a legal pad. My son has shown me who he truly is. I need legal protection from his greed. The story unfolded methodically, chronologically, the meticulously planned family vacation, Dean's deliberate exclusion of me at the airport, the hotel cancellation, 56 desperate phone calls, and finally, those ugly threats when he realized I wouldn't be manipulated. Clark took detailed notes, occasionally interjecting with clarifying questions that revealed his extensive experience with family disputes. How long has this financial dependency been going on? 20 years minimum. I had documentation going back to his first mortgage, and the threats were specific. I wrote them down verbatim. I slid the notepad across his desk. Asterisk, you're going to regret this, old man. Actions have consequences. Asterisk, Clark studied the notes, his expression growing more serious. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk. This sounds like attempted financial coercion in California. That's grounds for disinheritance, with legal protection against challenges. Meaning, If you choose to modify your will, we can structure it to withstand any attempt by Dean to contest it in court. The relief was almost physical, like setting down a heavy weight I hadn't realized I was carrying. I want him completely excluded, I stated. Everything I've built goes to organizations that will genuinely use it for good. Clark opened his computer and pulled up estate planning templates. Let me walk you through the options. We can establish a new will with charitable beneficiaries, including specific language detailing why Dean is excluded. For the next hour, we discussed the specifics. The Oakland Children's Education Foundation would receive the bulk of my estate. Engineering scholarships at UC Berkeley would get a substantial endowment. Local senior services, community development programs, veterans assistance, causes that truly mattered, run by people who understood stewardship. The documentation you've provided shows a clear pattern of financial exploitation, Clark said, reviewing my bank statements. Combined with the threatening language, it provides solid grounds for disinheritance. How long will this take? I can have the documents ready for signature by next week. We'll need witnesses, notarization, and I'd strongly recommend a video recording of the signing to comprehensively document your mental competency. Whatever it takes. Clark leaned back in his chair, studying me with the careful attention of someone ensuring his client fully grasped the implications. Arthur, this is permanent. Once executed, this will fundamentally alter your family relationships. They altered first, I replied. I'm just making it official. And you're certain about this? No second thoughts about the grandchildren. I thought about Lily and Max, their innocent faces during family dinners I'd funded, birthday parties I'd made possible. The children will be better served by scholarship programs than by inheriting money their father would control. Clark nodded, apparently satisfied with my reasoning. Then let's proceed. I'll draft comprehensive documents, entirely excluding Dean while robustly protecting your wishes from legal challenge. We shook hands as the meeting concluded, his grip conveying both professional competence and a personal understanding. I'll call you when everything is ready for signature. Walking back through the marble lobby, I felt lighter than I had in years. The law was on my side, justice would be served, and Dean would finally learn that actions truly do have consequences. The elevator descended 15 floors while I absorbed what had just transpired in Clark's office. Legal protection was coming, real, permanent repercussions for Dean's betrayal and threats. That week unfolded peacefully, filled with the kind of routine I'd neglected during months of vacation planning. Morning walks around my Oakland neighborhood, afternoon reading in Eleanor's chair, evening meals prepared without the rush to accommodate family phone calls or visits. No more constantly checking my phone for updates from Dean about travel arrangements. No more wondering if Chloe would like the restaurant reservations I'd made, or whether Gavin needed different activities for his arthritis. Just quiet, ordered days while Clark meticulously prepared the legal documents that would change everything. Friday afternoon, my phone rang. Clark's office. Arthur, the documents are ready. Can you come in Monday for the signing? Absolutely. Just to confirm, you're still committed to these changes? More than ever. Monday morning found me back in Clark's downtown office, but this time the conference room held additional people. His secretary, Sandra, and a paralegal named Mr. Kim sat at the polished table with notary stamps and official forms arranged like surgical instruments. This is a formal will execution, Clark explained, settling into his chair. Everything needs to be witnessed and notarized to prevent future challenges. The new will lay open before me, 23 pages of precise legal language that translated my anger into permanent consequences. Page after page detailed the complete exclusion of Dean Redding from any inheritance, the establishment of charitable trusts, and the designation of Clark as executor with full authority to distribute assets according to my wishes. Let me read the key provisions aloud, Clark said, his voice carrying the gravity of legal ceremony. The testator, Arthur Redding, being of sound mind and clear judgment, hereby excludes his son, Dean Redding, from all inheritance due to demonstrated financial exploitation and threatening behavior toward the testator. The words felt powerful, utterly final. Furthermore, the testator designates the following charitable organizations as primary beneficiaries. Clark continued through the list we'd carefully constructed. The Oakland Children's Education Foundation would receive $400,000. UC Berkeley's Engineering Scholarship Fund would get $300,000. Senior Services, Veterans Assistance, Community Development, worthy causes run by grateful people instead of entitled family members. Sandra adjusted her glasses. Mr. Redding, do you understand these provisions completely? Yes. And you're executing this will freely, without coercion? Completely freely. Mr. Kim activated a video camera positioned on a tripod. For the record, please state your name and today's date. Arthur Redding May 25th, 2025. And you are executing this will of your own free choice. I am. My signature felt steady on the official documents, each letter deliberate and final. Sandra and Mr. Kim signed as witnesses, their presence ensuring no future court could question the validity of my decisions. The notary's seal pressed into the paper with satisfying authority, making everything official under California law. The original shall remain in our security vault, Clark said, handing me sealed copies. These are your personal records. I recommend keeping one copy accessible and another in a safety deposit box. When do you think they'll find out? That depends on when you choose to tell them. I tucked the envelope under my arm, feeling its weight like armor against future manipulation. Their flight returns Thursday afternoon. They'll probably want to have some kind of family meeting about what happened. Clark nodded knowingly. Family meetings after a crisis tend to reveal everyone's true priorities. Outside his office building, San Francisco bustled with its customary energy, business people rushing to appointments, tourists consulting maps, street performers entertaining crowds. Normal life continued while my personal world shifted on its axis. The drive home took me across the Bay Bridge, offering Eleanor's favorite view of the city's skyline spread out like a postcard. She would have approved of today's work. Clean, legal, proportional justice. Dean had made his choice at the airport when he decided I was disposable. Now, he would live with the consequences. 2 weeks had passed since Clark sealed the final documents in his vault. During that time, I'd maintained my peaceful routine, mentally rehearsing this very moment. Clark and I had confirmed the flight details, discussed timing, and prepared for what was to come. Now, standing beside him in the international arrivals terminal at SFO, I felt the same calm confidence that had seen me through every major decision of my engineering career. Flight 441 from Honolulu has landed, Clark said quietly, checking his phone. They'll be coming through customs shortly. The leather portfolio under his arm contained the documents that would complete our mission. 3 weeks of planning, legal preparation, and psychological readiness had all culminated in this moment. Passengers began to trickle through the sliding doors marked, "Nothing to declare." 10 families adorned with leis, couples carrying duty-free shopping bags, business travelers checking their phones, the usual throng of people returning from paradise. Then I saw them. Chloe appeared first, chattering animatedly to Gavin about something she'd seen on the plane. Her oversized hat still bore a Hawaiian Airlines baggage tag, and she carried a shopping bag emblazoned with Maui. Gavin followed quietly, wheeling 2 large suitcases, his face reflecting the patient exhaustion of someone who'd listened to travel stories for 6 hours straight. Behind them came Sarah and the children. Lily wore a grass skirt over her shorts and clutched a plastic ukulele, while Max had a lei made of fake flowers around his neck. Both kids looked tired but excited, scanning the crowd for familiar faces. Dean emerged last, checking his phone with the distracted air of someone trying to reconnect with mainland life. His Hawaiian shirt hung loose over khaki shorts, and he moved with the relaxed swagger of a man who believed his problems were firmly behind him. Then Lily spotted me. "Grandpa!" She broke away from the group and ran towards me, her plastic ukulele bouncing against her side. Max followed, his face lighting up with genuine joy. "Grandpa Arthur, we missed you so much. Wait until you hear about the dolphins." I knelt down to hug them both, feeling their small arms wrap around my neck with the uncomplicated love that only grandchildren can offer. For a moment, the weight of what was about to happen pressed against my chest. But then I looked up and saw Dean's face. He'd stopped walking entirely, his relaxed vacation demeanor evaporating as he processed the unexpected welcoming committee. His eyes moved from me to Clark, taking in my lawyer's professional attire and the portfolio tucked under his arm. Arthur. Dean's voice carried a note of weary apprehension. "What are you doing here?" "Welcoming you home," I said, standing up and gently positioning the children beside me. "How was your vacation?" Sarah appeared at Dean's elbow, her expression shifting from confusion to something approaching alarm as she noticed Clark's presence. Chloe, oblivious to the building tension, blurted out, "We went to, and the resort had this amazing breakfast buffet." And Chloe Gavin said quietly, his accountant's instincts picking up on undercurrents she'd missed. "Maybe we should." Clark stepped forward, his movement precise and professional. "Mr. Dean Redding." His voice carried the formal tone of official business. Dean's face went pale beneath his vacation tan. Clark extended the sealed manila envelope towards Dean with the formal gravity of a court officer serving papers. Mr. Dean Redding, this is a copy of your father's revised last will and testament, executed on May 25, 2025. Dean's hands trembled as he accepted the envelope. The airport noise, announcements, luggage wheels, conversations, seemed to fade into background static as everyone's attention fixated on the legal document. What is this? Sarah whispered, reading the return address on the envelope. Dean broke the seal with jerky movements. His vacation relaxation completely evaporated. He unfolded the papers and began scanning the contents, his eyes moving rapidly across the legal text. I watched his face transform as comprehension dawned, first confusion, then disbelief, then something approaching horror as he reached the crucial passages about disinheritance. This can't be real, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Sarah leaned over his shoulder, reading the same devastating words, her face draining of all color as she processed the implications. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk, she said, trying to maintain a reasonable tone. Surely we can work this out. Think about the children. They're your grandchildren. I did think about them, I replied calmly. That's why I paid $20,000 for their Hawaiian vacation. Dean's head snapped up from the documents, his eyes blazing with the kind of desperate fury that comes from watching a life plan collapse in real time. You can't do this to us. I'm your son. Yes, I said. The son who left me stranded at an airport and threatened me when I finally stood up for myself. Chloe, finally grasping that something serious was happening, stopped her chatter mid-sentence. Asterisk, asterisk, Arthur, asterisk, asterisk, what's going on? Why does everyone look so upset? Gavin took her arm gently. Asterisk, asterisk, Chloe, asterisk, asterisk. Maybe we should give them some privacy. But Dean wasn't interested in privacy. This is impossible. You can't disinherit family. There are laws. Clark spoke with professional calm. Actually, Mr. Redding, California probate law fully supports your father's right to distribute his estate as he sees fit. The documentation is legally ironclad. I'll contest it in court. Dean's voice rose enough to attract glances from other travelers. This won't stand. Please do, I said. Asterisk, asterisk, Clark, asterisk, asterisk has prepared for that possibility. The video recording of my competency evaluation should be particularly compelling to any judge. Sarah was still scanning the legal documents, her practical mind calculating losses, the house, the investments, everything. Asterisk, asterisk, Clark, asterisk, asterisk confirmed. The Oakland Children's Education Foundation and UC Berkeley Engineering Scholarship Fund are now the primary beneficiaries. Dean crumpled the papers in his fist, then immediately smoothed them out again, as if that might change their contents. This is insane. You're throwing away your family over one stupid argument. Asterisk, one stupid argument, asterisk. My voice remained level, but I felt Eleanor's spirit strengthening my resolve. Asterisk, asterisk, Dean, asterisk, asterisk, you took $20,000 from me, excluded me from my own grandchildren's vacation, and threatened me when I objected. That's not an argument. That's betrayal. Lily tugged at my jacket. Grandpa, why is Daddy yelling? I looked down at her concerned face and felt a pang of genuine sadness. These children would grow up wondering why their inheritance disappeared, never fully understanding their father's greed had cost them their future. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes that have big consequences, I told her gently. Dean's desperation reached a new pitch. We'll get lawyers. We'll prove you were manipulated, that you're not thinking clearly. Clark opened his own portfolio and handed Dean a business card. I'd be happy to provide documentation of your father's complete mental competency to any attorney you hire. Fair warning, frivolous litigation can be expensive. The family stood clustered around their vacation luggage, the happy memories of Hawaiian beaches already overshadowed by this grim new reality. Chloe kept looking between faces, still not fully comprehending the magnitude of what had just transpired. Gavin, however, understood completely. His accounting background had taught him to recognize when numbers added up to disaster. Asterisk, asterisk, Dean, asterisk, asterisk, he said quietly. Perhaps you should have considered consequences before you acted. Dean whirled on his father-in-law. Don't lecture me. This affects all of us. No, I said firmly. This affects the people who betrayed my trust. Your children are innocent. That's why I've established scholarship funds that will help children like them for generations. Clark closed his portfolio with finality. Gentlemen, our business here is concluded. He turned towards the terminal exit, and I followed, leaving Dean's family to process their new reality amidst the cheerful chaos of returning travelers and vacation reunions. Behind us, I could still hear Dean's voice calling, still trying to negotiate, still unable to accept that some consequences are permanent. The walk through SFO's corridors felt different than it had 3 hours ago. Now I walked beside my attorney as someone who had reclaimed his dignity through principled action. Clark and I said little during the elevator ride to the parking garage. The weight of completed justice needed no commentary. That went exactly as planned, Clark finally said as we reached his car. Better, I replied. Dean revealed his true character perfectly. No judge would overturn a will after hearing those threats. The drive home took us across the Bay Bridge as evening settled over San Francisco. The city lights reflected off the water in patterns that Eleanor had always loved, and I felt her presence, approving of the day's work. You know they'll try to contest it, Clark said as we navigated through Oakland traffic. Let them. Every lawyer they hire will tell them the same thing you told me. The documentation is ironclad. Clark pulled into my driveway as the automatic porch light flickered on. The house looked exactly as it had this morning, but everything felt transformed by the completion of justice. We shook hands beside his car. Thank you, Clark. You made this possible. You did the hard work, Arthur. Standing up for yourself took real courage. After his taillights disappeared down the street, I unlocked my front door and stepped into the quiet sanctuary of my home. The familiar smell of furniture polish and the distant tick of Eleanor's grandmother clock welcomed me back. In the kitchen, I prepared a simple dinner: scrambled eggs, toast, a cup of tea. No need to accommodate anyone else's preferences or schedule. Just food I enjoyed, eaten at my own pace. The evening light slanted through the dining room windows as I ate, illuminating the family photos that lined the mantelpiece. Dean's college graduation, his wedding to Sarah, pictures of the grandchildren at various ages. They were still family, but now I could look at them without feeling the sting of betrayal. My favorite armchair beckoned from its position by the living room window. I settled into its familiar embrace with my tea, looking out at the garden Eleanor had planted and I'd maintained for the past 3 years. The last few weeks had transformed me from victim to advocate, from someone who accepted mistreatment to someone who demanded justice. Eleanor would have been proud of the man I'd become, or perhaps the man I'd remembered how to be. My phone sat on the side table, turned off since leaving the airport. No doubt Dean was trying to call, still believing he could negotiate his way out of consequences. But some lessons can only be learned, never taught. The charitable organizations would receive my call tomorrow: the Oakland Children's Education Foundation, UC Berkeley's Engineering School, the Senior Services Program. Worthy causes run by grateful people who understood stewardship. My money would fund violin lessons for children whose parents worked multiple jobs. It would pay for engineering textbooks for students who couldn't afford them. It would provide meals and companionship for seniors who'd been forgotten by their families. Real good in the world, instead of funding more vacations I'd be excluded from. The sun set behind Oakland's hills, painting my living room in shades of gold and amber. Somewhere across the bay, Dean's family was probably still processing the magnitude of their changed circumstances. Chloe would be confused, Gavin quietly calculating, Sarah planning damage control, and Dean would be learning that actions really do have consequences. I finished my tea as darkness settled over the neighborhood. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges. Phone calls from family members, possibly legal papers from desperate attorneys, the logistics of updating bank accounts and investment portfolios. But tonight, I sat in my own chair, in my own house, surrounded by the quiet dignity of a man who had reclaimed his self-respect. Eleanor's wisdom had guided me through the darkest period of family betrayal to this moment of peaceful resolution. Justice served, lessons learned, future secured. It was enough. It was perfect. It was, finally, completely mine.